appearance. This is the theme of the morph. It's analogous to that at the Transfiguration in Matthew 17:2. This is why in Epiphanies of Heavenly Beings, the morph is indeed said to be different, but not without affinities with earthly forms. You notice the main theme of morph has nothing to do with immaterial or incorporeal. That's not the meaning of the biblical word morph. It always has to do with physical appearance of something or someone. The apostles, now this is in the Apocryphon work. The apostles saw the soul of Mary placed in the hands of St. Michael, it says, and her soul had a human form in all of its details. It's very interesting that not only is it about the physical appearance of the human body, it's also about the soul having an appearance of a human body also. So that's SPIC, the Theological Lexicon of the New Testament. This is one of the themes of this Greek word morph that is so interesting in the Bible. Now it's interesting that we have archaeological evidence of this usage of the word. This is J.H. Moulton and G. Milligan's book, Vocabulary of the Greek Testament. They utilize several of the thousands of fragments of papyri that were discovered from Oxyrhynchus and various other areas in the New Testament times, dating back to the New Testament, that the common people were using and the meaning of the biblical Greek in use in Jesus' day. So we have archaeological evidence and information on this word morph. They say on page 417 of their very interesting text, they say, from the Septuagint usage of this word, the word has come in later Greek. Now this is the Neoplatonic Greek. It became a vague and general meaning far removed from the accurate metaphysical context which belonged to it in writers like Plato and Aristotle. Hence, the meaning must not be overpressed in the New Testament occurrences, although morph always signifies a form which truly and fully expresses the being which underlies it. This is very significant and interesting. The Greek biblical text of morph always signifies a form. That's very important because Jesus is said to be in the form of God, and God himself has a form, a morph. He's never described as immaterial or incorporeal in any manner in the New Testament. Now, Watson goes on to show on page 205 that morph is about the essential nature of a person. In Galatians 4:19, Christ's nature is his morph because it is tied with his physical appearance. In Mark 16:12 and 13, after that he had appeared in another form unto them, they walked and went into the country. It describes Jesus appearing and in another form, but there's always a form. His nature and form are interlinked, so to speak. Morph is used as an external physical appearance in these cases. In Luke 24:13 through 35, where Jesus appears to his disciples, he gives them bread, and then he disappears. Did Jesus physically, optically appear to be a stranger to the two men? He took upon himself the form of a stranger. The word morph was used to describe an exterior physical appearance and not a mystical essence. The word for that is ousia. Jesus was never truly a stranger as far as the scriptures are concerned. The contrast between the morph of God, the form of God, and the morph of men in Philippians 2:6 and 7 isn't about an outward physical appearance versus a non-material, formless omnipresence and a three-dimensional anthropomorphic discernible physical matter. The idea of the word here is about the nature instead of appearance. And this is a critically interesting aspect of this Greek word, as other lexicons I have show. Now, in Colin Brown's Dictionary of New Testament Theology, This is the New International Dictionary. It's volume 1. His discussion of morph is extremely interesting also. He says, morph is instance from Homer onwards and means form in the sense of an outward appearance. It can also mean the embodiment of the form, the person insofar as it comes into view. The outward appearance cannot be detached from the essence of the thing. The essence of the thing is indicated by its outward form. Now that is very important. That is very interesting. Similarly, morphosis means embodiment receiving form. Symorphosis having the same form. It's not so much the question of the transformation of the deity into human form, though he says, look at Philippians 2:6, but that men are in the divine form, in the Greek writers, such as Ovid's Metamorphosis. He says it's not merely the external appearance that is changed. Rather, the change of the morph involves a change of essential character. The external appearance is undoubtedly meant not as the antithesis to the essential character, but as the expression of the essential character. The initiate in the mystery religions is transformed by dedication and rites into divine substances, and so is deified. I passed into an immortal body, and now I am not what I was before, but am born again. That's in the Corpus Hermeticum. The whole man is affected, not just a part or something in him, but the entire man. So this morph is essential in the outward appearance, the form, the body, the thing, but it's also the essence of the thing. That essence can change, as signified by Brown, where humankind can become divine, and the divine can become human. But it's never about the immaterial incorporeality of God in any usage. And it's more of the same when we get to the BDAG also. This is the big New Testament lexicon, a Greek-English lexicon of the New Testament and the early Christian literature by Walter Bauer, F.W. Gingrich, and Frederick Danker. This is the big one. This is the one that probably is the most authoritative lexicon on the market. And they say that morph means form, outward appearance, shape, generally of bodily form, while morpho means to take on form or to be formed, and morphosis is an embodiment, a formulation, the outward form or appearance, so on and so forth. Say that on page 528. I believe this is the second edition out of the BDAG. Now another one I've got. Hang on real quick. This is too good to lose too. Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words. Very important book. Very interesting book on page 453. He says, morph denotes the special or the characteristic form or the feature of a person or a thing. It is used with particular significance in the New Testament of Christ in Philippians 2, 6, and 7 in the phrases being in the form of God and yet taking the form of a servant. An excellent definition of the word is that of Gifford. Now here's the definition of morph, and this is what Edward Watson was getting at. Morph is therefore properly the nature or the essence, not in the abstract, but as actually subsisting in the individual and retaining as long as the individual exists. That's morph. God is described, his essential characteristic, his nature of divinity is described, and his nature of divinity is his form also. God is not ever described as incorporeal or immaterial. In the biblical Greek, God is a physical man. And Jesus is that proof of the type of being that God is. See, this is very beautifully put by Duncan Black MacDonald in his book, The Hebrew Philosophical Genius of Vindication. It's a 1965 book where he